So, just got done watching what many are calling the worst UFC title fight ever. And they're probably right. It was certainly one of the more passive fights in recent memory. Some hints of Ngannou-Lewis in many moments of the fight, although it wasn't quite as bad as that one. So first of all, I'm going to put this out there, and maybe you hate me for it, maybe you agree. It doesn't matter who won the decision, okay? A lot of people on the social media were making a big deal about why Romero even won 2 rounds, or before the decision was announced, were saying, oh, well, Romero better not win this fight. Listen, they were both being passive. It takes 2 to tango. So if Romero is not engaging and Adesanya is not engaging and they both want to play that game, then both deserve equal blame. You can't put disproportionate blame on one of them. And I think a lot of folks are putting disproportionate blame on Yoel. But yeah, this fight was so passive that it does not matter who won. This cannot be a robbery. I don't care if it was 50-45 Adesanya or 50-45 Romero. It's not a robbery. I'm just going to go through some of the numbers because a lot of people think the numbers mean everything, and they don't. We've all seen CompuBox numbers in the middle of a boxing match, and they don't reflect how you're scoring the fight because there's more to a fight than strikes landed, but they illustrate a little bit of what's going on. So Adesanya landed 48 significant strikes the whole fight. Romero landed 40. Romero threw fewer strikes, so his striking percentage was higher. Romero landed more to the head. Adesanya landed a little bit more to the body, 9-7. And Adesanya landed significantly more strikes to the leg, which we all saw, especially in rounds 3 and 4. Not that it matters, but I myself scored the fight 48-47 Romero. Does that mean I think he was robbed? Of course not. Nobody could have been robbed in such a passive fight from both fighters. However, I scored it for Romero, firstly because giving 10-10 rounds are banned. They're not heavily discouraged, they're banned. If we didn't see a 10-10 round in this fight, we will never see a 10-10 round until we die. There's no such thing as a 10-10 round in the UFC. No one's going to give it. If I were allowed to give a 10-10 round, if I were a judge, I would have probably scored both of the first 2 rounds 10-10. But because I can't do that, I give them both to Romero, who landed the most significant strike of each of those 2 rounds. Izzy pretty comfortably won the 3rd and the 4th round with his nice leg kicks, which was really the only offense he got going. Not that either of them had much of any offense. The 5th round was Yoel's most aggressive round, and he did outland Izzy in that round. So yeah. And not only that, but Izzy wasn't engaging at all, even though Yoel was coming forward. So you can't say, or you can't blame Yoel for the passivity of the fight when they're both contributing to the passivity of the fight. In any case, I scored it 48-47 Romero. This feels like a loss for both of them. Obviously, Adesanya still has the belt. He's younger. He probably has more to look forward to than Romero. This is probably Romero's last shot at a title. And in addition to not getting the belt, he didn't put on his usual highly entertaining, action-packed, like brawl sort of performance. And that's going to work against him. I'm curious to see what the promotion's response to this fight will be. Because if we recall, Dana White threatened to cut Anderson Silva after fighting Demian Maia, where Silva was just kind of clowning around, just coasting to a win on the scorecards. Dana White threatened to cut Anderson Silva in his prime. So I'm curious to see what he's going to say about these guys' performance tonight. I mean, what else was there to say? I mean, Izzy was avoiding. Basically, the fight didn't have a leader. Neither man wanted to lead. They wanted the other man to lead, and they both refused. So we had that sort of stalemate. They each did some good things. Basically, if you condense all the action of the fight into one round, then that would have been a pretty good round. Izzy obviously targeted that right leg of Yoel. It was very swollen, very bruised by the end of the fight. Yoel, when he did get a chance to counter high, he did. And, I mean, Izzy moved back, so I'm assuming they hurt him. Izzy might have been clowning him a little bit too, to try to coax him into overextending himself and then getting caught. I don't know. I was entertained by the fight because I'm always entertained by Yoel Romero just for his antics. It was objectively a bad fight, I understand. But yeah, so where to go from here? Izzy still has the belt, which is important. He still has the 0 in his resume, which is also important. He still has the John Jones fight, which would still generate a lot of hype. Yoel, on the other hand, he's not going to get another shot at the belt. He maybe won't fight, I don't know. I wanted him to go up in weight, maybe challenge John Jones, but apparently they have the same manager, so they don't want to do that. I hope it's not the end for Yoel. I always love watching him fight. I think he's an interesting character and a very rare talent, very rare athlete. Would love to see him perhaps rematch Paulo Costa, although I would assume Costa will get the next shot at Adesanya. Now, why were the audience booing 1 minute into the fight? Well, it's because, I don't know, too much alcohol. I don't really like that whole thing. I don't really like the booing thing. It's a fight. Not every fight is going to be a human cockfight. They'd just seen a human cockfight for 25 minutes. They saw someone's forehead become a watermelon. Not every fight is going to be like that. We saw Adesanya against Silva. We saw how careful he was. Adesanya is a very, very calculating and surgical fighter. He's not going to do something stupid. And Romero as well prefers the other fighter to lead. It's just that usually the other fighter obliges. And he faced a fighter tonight in Adesanya who just didn't play that game. So yeah, my main takes: stop complaining about decisions all the time. Reyes versus Jones was a robbery. This is not a robbery because this was not a fight that you could actually score. It was literally a coin toss. It was too passive to score. Stop complaining about the previous fight too. Yeah, I'm going to give a few thoughts about the previous fight, the co-main. Significant strikes landed is not how an MMA bout is judged. Max Holloway outlanded Dustin Poirier when they fought the second time. But the judges gave it to Poirier, and most of us agreed, based on other factors, based on damage, based on dominance. Was it damage, dominance, duration? So this isn't point fighting. It's not about touching up the other fighter, although that can factor in. Volume striking is a legitimate strategy. But when one fighter is doing more damage with her strikes, that trumps the volume that's being landed on her. So yeah, stop complaining about that, or do it. I mean, I can't, it's just my opinion. Yeah, underwhelming main event, perhaps the worst title fight ever. Interesting to see what the promotion's opinion will be on this fight and what they're going to do about it. But yeah, thanks for listening to my pointless rambling of a video.